Welcome back. Or if you're just jumping in here, welcome to the Whole Soul Way. It's Deb Blum here. And just a quick recap. In the last episode, I shared why this work matters, why awakening to who you truly are isn't just about feeling better, but about contributing to the healing and evolution of humanity. I told you my story about how this program came to be and why I'm giving it away for free. And I talked about the law of fair exchange, how your commitment to doing the work is the exchange. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I encourage you to go back and listen. It'll help you to understand the heart and soul behind this work. But if you're already bought in and you are ready to understand how the program actually works, let's dive in. So here's how it's going to work. Season 1 of the Elate podcast is going to have 6 steps plus a nervous system course. Each step has a series of videos on YouTube or episodes on podcast channels. There's always one main teaching episode that goes through the core content, and then there's some additional episodes. Some of them are additional lessons that I've learned help round out the content, and some teach more of the experiential exercises. Now, here's something really important. There's also a workbook associated with each step, and I highly recommend that you download it. It's free. Just go to thewholesoulway.com/workbooks, and when you go there, you'll be able to download the workbook and use it alongside the content. Why am I emphasizing this? Well, because this program is centered around self-inquiry. You can listen to me teach all day long, but unless you're actually looking inside, building a relationship with yourself, the transformation is probably not going to happen. The workbooks give you the self-inquiry tools, ways to know yourself, understand yourself, so that you can come back to yourself and ultimately love yourself. Remember in the last episode, the biggest reason we suffer is because we've disconnected from ourselves? Well, this program is about coming back home, and self-inquiry is how we're going to do that. Okay, let's talk about the 6 steps of the Whole Soul Way Foundations program that you'll be going through either on YouTube or in the podcast. This is a journey. A hero's journey, really. And like all hero's journeys, it has stages, one building on the last, each one preparing you for the next. So let me show you what each of these stages looks like. We'll call them steps. Step 1 is befriending your inner protector and taking the wheel of your life. Your ego or your inner protector has been your fiercest ally, tirelessly working to protect you. But she's exhausted, and she was never meant to drive your life forever. You'll finally understand why you do the things that you don't like, why you shut down in conflict or people please, why you overwork or over-explain. These are not character flaws. They're protection mechanisms that your ego created to keep you safe when you were very, very young. So, in this step, we're going to thank our ego for her service, honor all that she's done, and gently guide her into the back seat so you can take the wheel. One thing we know is that if we don't thank her and appreciate her, she will rise up and resist this work. So, we start by honoring her. This is the beginning of the shift from ego driven living to soul led living, from reaction to conscious choice. So, what will you get? Well, one thing is you're going to stop being at war with yourself. You'll start to understand some of your patterns and the ways that you've defended yourself and realize that you're not broken. You're just protected. And you'll start to take the wheel of your life just a little bit more. In step 2, your inner protector becomes a way shower, guiding you to discover where your masks are, the armor you wear to protect yourself, the wounds that your armor and your masks are covering. And all of this is what we call holes, Holes. These are the places where we've disconnected from ourselves, where we're fragmented. The solution, Soul, is wholeness. And we start to talk about the concept of a search and rescue mission to reclaim all of who you are. We explore this cherished self idea, the identity that we cling to, the one that says, I'm a certain way. And the problem is when we hold on to our ideas of our identity and who we are too tightly, we leave parts of ourselves behind. For example, if I'm always the generous one, what happens to the part that wants to receive? So we introduce the concept of the shadow in this step. What will you get? Well, you'll get to see all the ways that you've been protecting yourself and what it has cost. You'll understand your cherished self, the shadow, and you'll begin to understand how to allow your inner protector to show you the way to those holes so you can journey into wholeness. In step 3, climbing your mountain, you start to become the leader of your own life. Using a mountain metaphor, we talk about how to climb your own mountain. There are two really, really important reasons for that. One is we're on a search and rescue mission. Our triggers, they become trailheads, showing us how to find exiled parts, feelings that we haven't felt, unmet needs, anything that we have cut off from or abandoned. But also, as you go deeper, you also rise higher, gaining a greater perspective, seeing new possibilities, actually seeing your life from your soul's viewpoint instead of down in the weeds as the human beings that we are, struggling and trying to find our way. We gain a new vantage point. So, what will you get from step 3? Well, you will learn to become the leader of your own life. You'll understand that all the things that irritate you, frustrate you, and trigger you are really trailheads for healing. And you'll begin to go on that search and rescue mission to reclaim access to those parts that have been disowned and abandoned and exiled. In step 4, we learn about your internal guidance system, your soul way GPS. This is where you get the tools. Now, up until now, you've definitely done a lot of self inquiry. You've started to explore things, you've done exercises, and that has gotten you to here where we're ready to get the actual tools of the program. The first thing is to know and understand the soul way GPS. You'll have actually learned about this in step 1 just a little bit, but we go a little bit deeper this time. The GPS stands for go inside, parent yourself, and show up in new ways. This is your repeatable process to excavate, to heal, and to grow. And you'll use this over and over and over again. You'll also get the dialogue quadrant. I call this journaling with a clear structure that actually gets you somewhere. It brings you from that cluttered, overthinking mind into clarity, calm, and confidence. And the trigger trail buddy. This is like a therapy session on paper. It does take time, but the results are pretty awesome. This is for when you're ready to go deep and heal something significant. In fact, what I tell people is do the dialogue quadrants. If you find yourself doing a dialogue quadrant on something that feels very similar, a theme perhaps in your life, that's when it's time to take it into the trigger trail buddy and do some real healing. So, what will you get? Well, in this step, you're going to get tools for your life, for your healing, for your awakening. And you're going to use your internal guidance system. But these two tools, the dialogue quadrant and the trigger trail buddy, will become very good friends of yours as you continue on your whole soul way journey. When we get to step 5, we move into reparenting your inner child. Just to be really clear, you have already been reparenting your inner child because you've been getting to know your inner child parts, your protector parts, and you've been exploring them, understanding them. This is building a relationship with them. But when we get to step 5, we really start to get into the act of reparenting your inner child. This is where we start to be able to meet the unmet emotional needs that we've been carrying. We learn about both the inner mothering that we need, which is for nurturing and compassion, but also the inner father, where we need some energy of boundaries, encouragement, taking action. A good parent comforts and empowers, and so does a good inner parent. You'll learn daily self compassion practices, how to check in with yourself, how to speak to yourself the way that you wished you had spoken to when you were a child. You really learn how to become the parent to yourself that you deeply, deeply needed and wanted as a child. Over time, you will be creating your own unshakable inner sanctuary, your own place of safety, strength, security, self love. This is really where the rubber meets the road in self parenting. So, what will you get? Well, one thing is you'll start to meet your own needs. You'll develop a more compassionate relationship with yourself. And this will give you a sense of your own inner stability. In step 6, it's about action, stepping back into your life with more wholeness, with more courage, where we are stepping in with our soul as the rightful guide of our lives. We show up incrementally as our more whole, authentic selves. The reason why we don't talk about showing up right from the beginning is because we really need to do all of the work to build that strength, safety, security, and self love inside of ourselves before we can show up in the world. Otherwise, we risk that we're just showing up in our old patterns. So, this is where we start to change and shift old patterns. And when I say baby steps, I really mean this is a time to take baby steps in making those changes. This is where we start to take responsibility for creating our own lives, for our own experiences. This is a time when we really own that we are the creators of what we desire. I would say in this time, you'll notice tangible shifts in how you perceive the world and engage with people. And you'll start to really prioritize yourself in your life. You'll prioritize showing up in your own life. When you're done with step 6, you're really just at the beginning. So often when we finish a program, we think, oh, I'm done. Yes, I'm done. I'm complete. I don't need to go back and do this anymore. But really, what you're learning is a new way of doing life. And that's why it's just the beginning. Now you have the knowledge, you have the tools, you have this place to go back to and continue to practice. But now what will happen is that you start to live using your internal guidance system, your soulway GPS. You're spiraling through this over and over at new levels of consciousness, new levels of understanding, each time becoming more and more fully yourself. So, what do you get from step 6? Well, you get the knowledge and the information to be able to start this journey, to really start practicing living this way. And you get the information and the knowledge and the practices to incrementally and slowly begin to live differently, to authentically show up, to break patterns, to live in alignment with your essence. Pretty awesome, isn't it? I know. Okay. I just want to tell you that throughout this program, we're going to weave in a 3-part nervous system course because triggers are not just mental, they're not just emotional, they're actually physiological. So, we're going to talk about how the nervous system works, why we react the way that we do, practical tools to regulate ourselves, how trauma works in all of this. And you'll walk away with a much better understanding of your body's reactions. You'll have more tools. I think just understanding how our nervous system works is an incredibly helpful thing because it helps us to not make ourselves so wrong for the ways that our nervous system's dysregulation sometimes causes us to show up in ways that we don't always feel proud of, or that don't feel good inside, or that we wish we could do better. And sometimes nervous system regulation is one of the key pieces. The reason why we integrate this in is because I have found that people go through the program and there is a point where they realize they want to be able to do some of the things in this program. They want to show up differently. They want to be able to understand why they're getting activated, but their nervous system becomes a limiting factor for them. So, understanding the nervous system and learning how to regulate your own nervous system and get yourself back to homeostasis becomes a really important part of this whole process. Like the women who have been through the paid program, you'll likely want to listen to these steps repeatedly. Repetition will help you get the most out of it. This is really yours to take, and hopefully, it will lead to massive amounts of growth, healing, and awakening. Nothing would make me happier. But I also do want to make sure you know that there are opportunities to delve deeper, to get more support, be part of a community, and access coaching to contextualize what you're learning. This free program is considered to be round 1, the foundations. In the paid program, we also have rounds 2 and 3, where we go deeper with expansion lessons, embodiment lessons, a meditation library, more experiential opportunities to practice what you're learning, and so much more. So, if any point you feel called to go deeper, to have that support and community, please know it's here for you. But I also want you to know that what you have access to right here is substantial. It's real. It's the foundation. This is what I got in a download from the universe. And many of you are going to transform your lives by learning and practicing this new way of living with this free content. But I just want to make sure you know that you're not alone and that I'm a real person and I do real work. And if you need more, you can always reach out. I wanted to also let you know that there's another resource for you. If you want to listen to guided meditations that support the whole soul way journey, head over to Insight Timer and tune in there. These meditations are a beautiful addition to the program, especially if you're someone who benefits from guided practices. I wanted to just say one other thing too is that maybe you'll end up working with your own therapist and bringing some of these concepts to them. Maybe you'll find your own community to practice with. This is yours to use however it serves you best, okay? So, one more thing about the spiral. You're going to go through this program over and over again, and you'll understand it at a different level each time. You will. The first time through, some things will land. The second time through, you're going to hear things that you didn't hear before. The third time through, you'll have new insights. This is the spiral of healing. We're not going in circles, we're going in spirals. We're covering similar territory, but at a higher level of consciousness each time. In addition, the Soulway GPS process itself is a spiral. You don't go through it once and you're done. You go through it with each trigger, challenge, each opportunity for growth. Each time you climb your mountain on a different trail, finding different aspects of yourselves, integrating more of your wholeness, maybe even the same trail over and over and over again, but each time at a higher level of consciousness. This is actually by design. It's not a failure. This is the practice, okay? All right, all right, all right. So enough is enough. Now you know what the whole soul way is. You know the 6 steps. You know about the tools you get. You know this is a practice. It's not a one and done. And I want you to know one more thing. The fact that you're here still listening, that tells me that you're ready. Some part of you is ready to stop hiding, ready to stop fighting yourself and to start fighting for yourself, ready to come home to who you really are. So here's what you're going to do next, okay? First, go to thewholesoulway.com/workbooks. Download the workbooks. Do it now. Don't wait, because you're going to want them as you go through each step. Then get started on step 1. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you have more time or you feel more ready or less scared. Just begin. Listen to the first episode. Do the exercise. Start getting to know your inner protector and then keep moving through step by step, trail by trail, climbing your mountain, reclaiming yourself. Your life is waiting for you, the real you, the whole you that you came here to be. And listen, as you go through this, leave comments on the episodes. Tell me what you think. Share your experiences. Ask questions because your engagement absolutely matters. You matter. Your healing matters. Your wholeness matters, not just for you, but for all of us. And I just wanted to say one other thing. I'm not an expert in podcasting and all of that yet, but apparently, if you rate, review, and share, it helps to build the audience of this and get more people listening. And if you're anything like me, you really do care about making this world a better place. And so you sharing isn't just for me, it's to help other people. But if you want to do it for me, then I would be so deeply, deeply grateful. But if you do it for others, because you want to live in a world that has more people who are awakened, then do that. Do some sharing, some reviewing, some rating. Because when you awaken to who you truly are, you become a gift to the world and you stop passing your wounds down to your children. You start showing up with more love and presence and compassion. You contribute to the healing and evolution of all of us. And yeah, you have the power to do that for yourself and to also share it with others. So let's do this together. I'm so honored to walk this path with you. I'll see you in step 1. Welcome to the Whole Soul Way.